Hello, this is Pete with PM Performance, and welcome to my boat. Alright, I want to thank you guys for coming back for another video. This is going to be a different video today. As you guys can see, we are in my boat, wearing my Chaparral Sinesta 214. And I'm going to be doing some much needed maintenance. As you guys can see, I have a Volvo Penta 5.0 GXI in this boat. This motor is known for having fuel pump issues. Volvo Penta, in their infinite wisdom, painted the inside of the fuel housings, and these things are known to have issues with the paint chips going up through the fuel system, clogging up fuel filters, clogging up fuel pumps, clogging up the fuel pressure regulators, things like that. So, with that being said, I think I have fuel pump issues. Actually, I don't even think, I know. So, I've had this boat for like 5 years. This fuel pump has squealed and whined ever since I bought it. And I've just been playing with fire. No pun intended. I've been running this thing, running it hard with the fuel pump whining, knowing one day it's going to give up on me. While it has not given up on me yet, it's showing signs it's ready to. I never had any performance problems with the boat. I often wonder if it would have better performance, but I've never had performance problems with the boat. Now, as of last year, it's been giving me a hard time starting. This year, it's been giving me a hard time starting after it's been run for a little bit. First start is always fine, but after running for a little bit, it doesn't like to start hot. And giving it full throttle, it will kind of buck and surge and kind of pull back power. So I think it's about that time. So what I did is, if you guys Google Man Cave Mechanic or 5.0 GXI or Volvo Penta fuel pump issues, you're going to come up with this guy's videos and website, mancavemechanic.com. And this gentleman had problems with his boat, his Volvo Penta, and it kind of led him down the rabbit hole trying to fix it, and so came a business from it. So what he does is he refurbishes Volvo Penta fuel pumps. I did not get a refurbished one though. I got a brand new one from him. I got a brand new aftermarket fuel pump assembly, fuel pumps, fuel filter, nipples, the whole shebang. So we're going to be installing this thing today. And he was lucky enough to provide instructions on how to install the pump, which is great. We're also going to take out the tube in the tank and the check valve, check all that out, make sure we don't have any clogs in that, and hopefully get this boat back to 100% running order. So let me, I'm going to try and record as much of this process as I can. Battery's going dead and it's kind of tight fitting in inside this boat engine cavity. As you can see, it's not the easiest thing to work on, but I will see where I can get tools in there and record some things and show you guys how to do this process. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is take off this feed line. Then I'm going to take off the check valve, check that out, make sure that's not jammed up at all. And I'm going to take out this guy right here. That is the siphon line for the gas tank. So we'll go get this clip off, we'll spin this off with a wrench, then we'll spin that off with a wrench and check everything out. Alright, so we got the check valve out. It was not the easiest thing to get out. I don't hear the ball moving around. So let me see if I can put the camera down and see if we can get this ball unlodged, if it's lodged. Okay, it's not lodged. It just doesn't move around freely from shaking it. So alright, the ball is good, the ball looks good. You guys can see in there. It was just, years of being in there, corrosion and pipe dope on the threads. So we'll get the threads cleaned up good. And we'll move on to the next piece, see if I can get the siphon out of the tank. Alright, so I'm kind of busting my nuts with this, but I got this screwed off. Again, boats aren't always the easiest things to work on, but see if we can fish this out. Probably not going to be able to fish it out one-handed. This is not as flexible as I thought it was going to be, so let's fish this out a different way. Alright, once again, not an easy task, but this line looks good. The screen looks good. So I don't see really any indication that I have any problems in the tank, because that's good. Pickup is good. Let me go ahead and get this guy back in there, and we'll move on to the fuel pump. This is just a pre-check just to make sure everything is good. Again, you don't want to go and do a new fuel pump and then find out you got a clogged fuel line. Alright, so I got the fitting back in. We'll cut off the tip of that line, make everything nice again. I put some thread tape on the fitting. I know it's not gasoline proof and the fitting is very tight, but I did it anyway just for me sleeping better at night. Let's go ahead and figure out how to get this fuel pump assembly off, get all the lines off, and start tapping away at that. Okay, first thing the instructions say to do is to pull off the fuel pressure regulator and clean out the screen. Again, see if you have any remnants of paint chips in there. So you just pull off the vacuum line, pull off this spring clip right here, and then this regulator will pull out. Just make sure you don't lose the screen. Alright, clip is out, and I believe this just pulls out. Let's see if I can do it with one hand. And of course I can't do it with one hand. Alright, so I got this out. You're going to see this screen on here. The screen is decently clear. We got some paint that wore away on the outside of the screen, but the screen is clear. I've cleaned the screen a few times over the last couple years. Maybe that's why the fuel pump kept running. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I am seeing some debris by eye. I can't see it in the camera, so I'll go ahead and clean it out with some carb cleaner real good, get some of that junk off of there, and we'll go ahead and reinstall it. Alright, so you can see everything is cleaned off now. I actually did the steps out of order. That was before priming the system back up after replacing the pump, but I like to check this anyway. So this is nice and clean now. Go ahead and pop this back in the housing. Just slide that in and get this clip and snap that clip back on. Alright, and back in place, and fuel pressure regulators back in place. Now we'll get to the pump. Okay, so Man Cave Mechanic pretty much gives you everything soup to nuts. Already got a filter on it. You got some replacement O-rings. It's already got the nipples. It's already got a new hose on the I guess going from the maybe that's a high pressure fuel pump to circulate, and basically it should just be 4 bolts for the assembly. After knocking out the feed return lines, pulling off that rubber hose and unplugging this connector, and everything should pop out. And then the supply and return lines, I don't know if that goes inside these. We'll check that out in a minute. And it looks like maybe we have a vacuum nipple on top. Let's go ahead and take a look at this assembly. So this, alright, so we got a rubber line right here that goes up to alright, so it looks like this goes to vacuum. That's just a vacuum line. Feed and return lines, plug, and then this hose right here, as I said before, and then the 4 bolts to knock this out. Looks like that is it. Alright, so I got the supply line off. I'll clean that up later. And you're going to have your 2 fittings here to pull off the feed and return, I already popped off the electrical connector. You should probably do these with crescent wrenches. I'm gonna do them with adjustables just because that's what I have out here. I don't feel like running back to the garage. Let me see if I can do that without bitching these things up and get the assembly loose. Okay, actually those lines weren't that tight. I was able to break them loose very easily. So you just unscrew these, pop the lines out, and I'm assuming you're gonna have O-rings somewhere in there. Okay, looks like we got an O-ring at the bottom of that fitting. And should probably have an O-ring at the bottom of this fitting that I cannot see right now. Either that or it has fallen out at some point. We'll go ahead and check this stuff out, clean up a little bit of residual fuel, and we'll get the pump out. Alright, so these bolts are all 9/16. This top one is tough to get a socket on, so we'll hit that with a ratcheting wrench, make that easier, and we'll go ahead and spin this assembly off. Alright, that bottom one was a little bit of a bastard to get out. I'm going to have to clean these threads up good. This is kind of part of the fun part of taking stuff apart on old boats that hasn't been apart yet, and any oxidation and, you know, just stuff getting beat up by rust, salt water, things like that. So you can see there's some corrosion on the ends of these. Makes it a little bit more difficult to get out, but I got the bottom ones out. Pop these top ones off and just be able to pull the assembly out, I'm hoping. Alright, so that's what that extra line was for in the back. This actually goes to another part of the fuel system. So we got to get this out, and that was probably just a replacement line. It goes back somewhere I can't see because I don't have my head down there. And I got to clean up some fuel. Got a little bit of residual drippage from the feed and return line. Try to get a screwdriver in here, get this line out up top, and then I think it'll come out. Alright, so I got this thing out. This line was a little bit of a pain in the ass to get out, and let me smell that. Okay, that is not, it's not fuel. So this is a fuel cooler line. There's a line that comes off of the top of the thermostat housing. You have there, goes into the bottom of the pump assembly, and I guess it cools off the fuel. So that was a pain in the ass to get out. That's what this looped line back around here is for, because it's not easy to get that line on and off. So Man Cave Mechanic did pre-install that for me. That is nice. So you can see this old fuel pump. I'd actually be curious. I'd probably try and take this apart one of these days, but everything's all gunked up. Let me go ahead and figure out if I need to transfer anything over. I don't think I do. I think I just pop this guy right back in, plug it in, take out the fuel filter, fill it with some fuel, and prime this thing a couple times, and I think that's all she wrote. But let's go ahead and check everything out. Okay, so looking at this further, that's why he looped this around. This must be the water supply line, and up here, this top nipple must be the water return line because it goes to one of the exhaust manifolds. So, alright, I'll just go ahead and bolt this thing back into place, get the connections reversed. You're going to see right here is the water return line, and if we pull that out, that goes all the way back over here underneath this. I guess this is the PCM. It goes underneath the PCM and into the exhaust manifold. This one is just vacuum. And then we have our fuel and return lines under here, and they do both have the O-rings, so we'll place the O-rings and grease them up. And then again, you have your water supply and return, and your 4 bolts. So easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Famous last words. Being bald sucks because, as you see, I have this really fashionable headband because sweat is just dripping into my eyes. Boats are not easy to work on. That's why I joked and said easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the bolts a little bit. Maybe lube them up a little bit and clean them up just so they go back in without squeaking and snapping. That's what I'm hoping doesn't happen. Maybe we clean up the holes a little bit. Let's go ahead and get it all done. And if you don't have one of these fancy tools, I highly suggest you get one if you work on cars or boats, because this will save your day when you drop a bolt all the way deep inside your bilge. Fuel pump assembly bolted in. I got the water supply line on, and you just do everything in reverse fashion. Again, just plug up the harness that dropped down here somewhere I gotta find. You get the return or feed line you gotta put back on the tank, back on this nipple here. Feed return, O-ring them up, loop them up, pop those in, pop in the vacuum and the coolant return line back here, and should be button them up and ready to prime it after that. Alright, I'm sweaty but miserable. Not sweaty but miserable, sweaty and miserable, but I got this done. Just got to tighten up the feed and return lines, and then we'll go to the priming process. We're going to take off the filter that's down here, fill it up with some fuel, prime it, and hopefully the fuel pump does not whine. That's the end goal here. Alright, so like with everything with a boat, everything is tight, all the water lines, fuel lines, everything like that around the filter. So I have this thing that I use for changing oil in the cars to get the filters off. Hopefully I can stick this thing up here enough to get the arm started on it, just to twist it off. Wish me luck. Alright, we got everything hooked back up, got the blower on for a couple minutes. I got muffs on out back, prime the pump, and fingers crossed. Alright, so still not liking the start. Alright, let's check for leaks back here, and we'll give her another whirl. Alright, so we got it running. I had to give it a couple more cranks, probably to fill up the rest of the fuel system and build up pressure. This is the quietest this motor has ever been. It sounds like I have a chirp from a pulley now. Should probably clean up some pulleys, but let it run for a little bit. I'll give it some gas once it's warmed up, and we'll see how it goes next time I go out on the lake. Alright boys, she's nice and quiet now. Give her some dry revs, give her a little bit of RPM. She would have been screaming. That fuel pump would have been screaming by now. Alright, all I hear is induction noises and just injectors firing right now. So everything should be good. I'll go ahead and let this warm up a little bit, and we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Alright, so it is the next day. I'm mowing the grass, so I realize I need to clean up all the stuff in the yard from doing the boat yesterday. So I figure now is as good a time any to see if the boat actually starts up. Alright, let's see if it actually starts up first try. Alright, we got prime. Alright. She starts, boys and girls. So, I am going to consider that a successful fuel pump install. When I was having a hard time starting yesterday, I think that was solely due to not having the system fully primed since I drained out the fuel. Sorry, trying to concentrate on climbing down while I'm doing this. I just want to get this while it was fresh in my head. So I'm going to consider this a successful fuel pump install. Got to get this thing out to the lake. I was trying to do that yesterday. The wife wasn't having it after we were wrapping up for the day, so it's just going to be another day. Potentially next week I'll get it out. If anybody cares for follow-up videos, I'll do follow-up videos. But otherwise, thank you, Man Cave Mechanic, for your videos, the information, and most importantly, the fuel pump. I think the fuel pump was decently priced. I think an OEM unit's like 800 bucks and change. Man Cave Mechanic's pump was like 500 bucks. I got the new version, no aftermarket pump and aftermarket housing. It was like $525 shipped. and you saw it was decently easy install with replacing the whole setup. You know, as decent as any kind of boat work can be, but yeah, we'll consider that a successful project. If you guys are interested in more boat videos, I can certainly do them. I don't know if these really get any traction, so I don't do a ton of them, but thank you for watching. If you're interested, I'll maybe do another video. I want to get the decals off the side of the boat. I want to clean it up real good and put some new graphics on it, something a little bit more modern than some 90s tribal, even though it's not a 90s boat. But again, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Hope you found this video informative, and if not informative, humorous. If not both, I'll take 1 out of 2 if I can get it. But thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys on the next one.